start with the presentation. All right, so today we have a very special guest. We have Roman Parhomets out of Ukraine, and he is the founder of a new company, a startup called Oasis Rocket. It has a very important meaning or special connection to me. Those who don't know, I'm a Ukrainian, originally from Ukraine. And so I'm very happy to see Ukrainian companies participating in X Culture. And also I'm a big plant lover. I have probably about a dozen plants in my office. They look a little ugly in the kind of conventional old pots. So I cannot wait until Oasis Rocket has its product on the market so I can buy a few of those for my own office. And so as always, we would like to start with a little introduction of the company, and then we will go into the question and answers mode and ask more questions. Those who are watching live, as I said, you can ask questions anytime. And I have received a few questions by email, so I'll try to group them as well and ask them during the session. All right, so Roman, if you would like to maybe tell us a little bit about your product and history of the company and the idea, and then we'll proceed with the questions afterwards.
Okay, hi everybody. Tell me please, can you see my slides on your screen?
You probably have multiple screens because we see your folder with the pictures, but not the slides.
Okay, let me turn on the slides.
Yeah, it seems like we see the pictures, but
Okay, and full screen is work?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Okay, hi everybody. My name is Roman, and I am the founder of Oasis Rocket Startup. So before we start, I would like to apologize in advance for any mistakes in my English, because I'm not a native speaker, and this is my first public speech on English language. However, I will do my best, and I hope you will understand everything. Okay, let's start. Let me introduce ourselves and our startup. We are a Ukrainian company with the goal to revolutionize the indoor plant design. The company was founded by two engineers from Ukraine with practical experience in design and hydroponics. This is me and my business partner, Andrew. So, Oasis Rocket is a product of our love for nature, plants, and modern design. We want to bring people closer to nature and do better solutions for modern homes and offices of large cities. The design of Oasis Rocket is based on the click-clack principle, so everyone can easily set up it, just follow a few simple steps. How we got this idea? Potted plants often don't fit in modern spaces and take up a lot of space. Once traveling through the jungle of Thailand, we noticed that in nature, many plants grow on tree trunks or other vertical surfaces like rocks. This is markedly different from plants are grown indoor in plant pots on horizontal surfaces. So we started thinking if it would be possible to grow indoor plants vertically and compactly. We found no indoor plants pots that allow growing plants on vertical surfaces, so we created our own. Our design is modern and convenient, but also functional, complete with autonomous moisture and light management. The Oasis Rocket is designed to be simple and functional. The setup is easy, just follow a few simple steps. Our irrigation systems ensure that each plant receives the optimal amount of water, and you just need to add water once a week, and the Oasis Rocket evenly distributed it to the roots of each plant. The Oasis Rocket is simple, efficient, and easy to operate. The design is based, as I said, on the click-clack principle, so the lamp, plants, and parts can be easily unplugged, replaced, and reconnected. The Oasis Rocket can work with most indoor plants of medium size. For example, Dracaena, Philodendron, Chlorophytum, Peperomia, Tillandsia, and others. Oasis Rocket creates a natural environment and freshness air in your office, living room, hotel lobby, or customer waiting room. If you install Oasis Rocket, you will get ready for compliments from your visitors. Our Oasis Rocket models have great advantages and features. At first, it is autonomy. Thanks to the special irrigation system, it is enough to water the plants only once a week. Second is mobility. You can easily change the location of the Oasis Rocket in your indoor space. Design of our models is bright and classy, and this is cool emphasis perfect for a modern office or home space. Our design makes wet and healthy indoor climate in the place of its location. And the built-in lighting provides beautiful illumination for your indoor space. Also, one of the good advantages is ergonomics. This means that you can use maximum of plants in the minimum of space for natural comfort of person. So at the moment, we have two models of Oasis Rocket. The Oasis Rocket Model 1 is bigger and the Oasis Rocket Model 2 is smaller. Oasis Rocket Model 1 kit is the kit for 9 plants with built-in lighting. The size is 20×50 centimeters, and this is tube shape with 9 cells for plants on a stable base. On the top of this model, allocated a special hidden opening for water and lighting lamp. Down on the base, there is a button for light management. The Oasis Rocket Model 2 is the kit for 4 plants with built-in lighting. The size is 23×28 centimeters. This is the cube shape with 4 cells for plants on a stable base. On the top of this model, allocated special holes for watering, and down on the base there is built-in lighting. The Oasis Rocket design is modular, so the parts are interconnected and plants can be easily unplugged, replaced, and reconnected. The same for parts. They can be replaced, or new parts could be added to scale up the design. For watering, you just need to add water to a special hidden opening once a week. And thanks to the special irrigation system, the water will distribute to the roots of each plant. I also would like to point it out that due to difficulties of transportation of live plants, the Oasis Rocket delivers without plants. However, the plants can be bought locally and planted in minutes. Our company bridges several industries to provide people with natural, beautiful, harmonious, and comfortable solutions for indoor landscaping for a better life. We found an original solution to replace pots and containers for plants. With more efficient design, which allows you to fit a maximum of plants on a minimum of space and get extra decoration and functionality. Oasis Rocket offers a radically new approach to indoor plants, space and mind freshener for modern indoor areas. Indoor plants area provide unlimited opportunities for experiments and improvements of indoor plants design. So we are experimenting with different materials such like stone, wood, metal, glass, different shapes and sizes like balls, cubes, and with functional improvements. We are planning adding smart irrigation, smart aeration, and meteorological station. We need your support to make our ideas a reality and give people new solutions for interior landscaping. We want to revolutionize how plants fit in modern interior designs. We know how hard it is to keep indoor plants beautiful and alive. Indoor plants are fragile and can perish from too much or too little care. Often it is hard to find space for plants, and plants don't always fit with the interior design of the office or home. With the Oasis Rocket, you can forget about old school style and replace it with modern and efficient solution. Now I would like to show some short video about our project.
Yeah, let's see if it's going to work. Hopefully it will.
Yeah, let's check it.
And we already have quite a few questions, so let's watch the video and then move on to the questions.
You can see? Can you see?
Still loading. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to stream the video. Usually with video, it works better when we pre-upload it.
Okay, so it is not problem. We can.
But the demo video that we have, that's the product demo video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have it. We have the link to the video on the challenge instructions.
Okay.
A few questions about the product. So while we are here, so does it come with the soil? So you said the plants are not included, but people can buy them anywhere. How about the soil?
Yes, it comes without soil. And when a customer bought a plant with a classical pot, he can use soil from this pot.
Mm-hmm.
So
just no special requirement. It's not. It doesn't have to be any special soil. Just regular pot.
Yes. Any customer can use soil that comes with plant in classical plant pot.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, in terms of the company itself, so it is a startup. And so in the past, we've had companies or tried to go with companies that are bigger and more known. But lately, we've been interested in adding a couple of small startups. And the reason for that is that most of our students would like to start their own companies. And so by studying the cases like Oasis Rocket, they can prepare for their own startup launches and learn more from you than they can learn from a huge company. Second, with big companies, usually, the decision process is slow. And even when the students come up with brilliant ideas, it takes a lot of time before we can see the results. Whereas when we look at a smaller company, especially a startup, these companies move swiftly. They're very interested in students' ideas, and often even before the semester is over, the students can see some of their ideas implemented. And so we would like to learn a little bit more about your company as a company to better understand what stage of development you're at, what challenges you're experiencing, to see how we can help here. So in terms of the stage of development, so the company is pretty new. How old is it? When did you launch it?
The company is about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea came for me in January of this year, and after a few months we made it reality. So now we work just two, me and my business partner. We are planning hire some people for helping us, but on this time we work two. We have small workshop with not many tools for work, and some works we give to outsourcing.
So how did it work? So you have an idea to make a physical product, and so what happens then? I mean, you just literally buy some plastic and start making it, or how does it work? Like, what happens next?
After idea, we tried to find parts for our construction, and some parts we find in local shops, some parts we find on the internet shops, and after this we made a prototype and test it, and now we are ready for mass production. We know our mistakes, and we know what we need improve and what we can improve. So like this.
So you physically made the prototypes, right? Like you and your partner, you literally took the pieces of plastic and glued it together, or 3D printed it, or somehow, but you made the product.
Some parts for producing some parts we use 3D printing and laser cutting. We do it not ourselves. We do it at outsourcing.
And then when it comes to production, so we'll get into the business model a little bit later, but so let's say you do raise enough funding to scale up your production and start mass producing the product. Where would the production be happening? Are you going to use some manufacturers overseas, I don't know, in China, or are you planning to do it all in-house? What's the plan there?
So if we are talking about quantity less than 1,000 pieces per month, we can produce it by ourselves here in Ukraine, hire some people for helping, and we can produce it here. But if we are talking about quantity more than 1,000 pieces per month, so we need to collaborate with Chinese factory and need some time for this. However, more time is needed.
Mm-hmm. And then you have two different models at this time that you're working with, a bigger and a smaller one, right?
Yeah.
Any plans to add more designs, more models in the future?
Yes, we have a lot of ideas of different types of construction, and this is different shapes and different materials. And we are planning produce new models too. We have a lot of ideas and we want to make it reality.
Now, a lot of questions about the business model and particularly funding. So you're a new company, and so you're short on cash. You need money to scale up the production. Can you tell us more about the stage you're at? How are you trying to raise the funds? What's the strategy here?
And now we launched a few days back a campaign on Kickstarter. And this is one of the way to find funding. We are sending a lot of information for different people who are interested in startups and for some websites with startups, with overviewing of startups. And we are asking with people finding some partners. And our next step, we want to try Indigo crowdfunding platform. So like this.
Yeah, I'm looking at your Kickstarter page. So you have a very nice page here with lots of information. So very nicely done. Now you're looking primarily at crowdfunding. So did you think about other forms of raising, other sources of capital, like venture capitalists maybe, or a loan from a bank? I see on Kickstarter you're asking only for about $7,000 to make the first shipment of products. Would it be possible to perhaps just get that money from the bank instead? Would it be easier? Or are you open to that idea?
The venture capitals is interesting for us, but in Ukraine it is not developing. So we are open to this idea, but actually we don't know how to do it.
Right. Now, on that note, for the students, so one of the questions in the challenge is specifically about raising capital. And so as you've heard, the company at this time is trying to crowdsource the whole company. But if you have better ideas, particularly some thoughts about either debt or issuing equity, some form of venture capital, or maybe a loan from a bank or something else, make sure not only to suggest that as an option, but to explain in a great detail how exactly it would work. So as detailed as possible with names, steps, links, especially if you have experience with this kind of endeavors, that would be much appreciated. And then at the same time as you will be researching this topic, also, it would be a good exercise for yourselves. Soon enough, you probably will have an idea for your own business, and you will be in the same situation where you have the idea, maybe the prototype, but now you need cash to build the capacity and scale up and start selling the product internationally. So that becomes an issue. All right, now let's talk a little bit more about sales. So let's say everything goes well, you raise the money, you start making those machines or pots. In terms of the markets that you're interested in, and in terms of the form or your mode of presence in the market. So do you have specific countries in mind where you would like to do the business, or you are interested in selling them wherever people would buy them? What's your sort of thinking as far as the geography and the market that you would like to conquer?
We think that our target audience is modern young people from mega cities. People about 30 years old, they are busy and they are live in a concrete surrounding. So they don't have enough green plants around. So, and we think mega cities from USA and maybe from China and Singapore and from Japan. It is our market. And one of the expectation from X culture, we would like to find optimal market and optimal marketing strategy with help of students. And we want to test an idea with different people, with different cultures,
Right.
and collect feedbacks from people. Are they open to this idea to have the Oasis rocket in office? Are the price and time of delivery are reasonable or no? Why or why not? Like this.
Yeah, so when you said you would like to test or survey the market and see where the demand might be, you said that you think the main customers will be younger people sort of with progressive views. I'm not sure that will be the case. There is a very good chance it will be equally popular and maybe even more popular among older people, especially people who already have some money and have the time to attend, to tend to flowers. So with the students, again, one recommendation here might be to survey some of the people, to introduce some of the potential customers. Talk to your parents, talk to your friends, talk to strangers on the street, show them the pictures and ask them if they would like to buy something like this. You never know what the market actually will be. I can imagine that maybe some people, middle-aged people might want to buy this for their, workstation at work. Maybe some people would like to use it in their home office. Maybe some companies would like to buy it for the reception area. So no idea where the demand might come from, and it's always better to survey a target population and see what happens. And again, you don't have to interview many people. Each team is comprised of what, like 5, 6 people. You each ask 5 people and you have a sample of 30, 40 respondents. And that already gives you some idea. We will even look into the possibility of pulling those responses in one sort of database. So this way you can learn not only from your own surveys, but also from the surveys conducted by other students, so that you can use that in your strategy as you're preparing the solution to this product. Now, Swati, I saw you had a few questions, and so I thought it may be easier to simply add you to the conversation call here. So if you would like to unmute your microphone and ask your questions, you can do that right now. Swati, is your microphone working? So,
yes, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead. So you had a question. Please go ahead. Just tell us who you are, where you are, and go ahead with your question.
So I'm Swati Bansali from India. I'm studying in IIM Calcutta. My questions, so one was, well, how much money are we looking at to start with, and which country to begin with? Like, are you going to sell it in Ukraine, or are you, like, because it's a very wide world to kind of understand which megacity are we looking at to start with, and where, like, have you done some kind of customer segmentation? How many customers are we serving to start with? Have you tried selling it around? How that response is going? So yeah. I've asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's a lot of questions, but very good questions. Yeah. Yeah. So let's start with how much money you're trying to raise. How much money do you need to start producing the product?
Thanks for question. We think that for first step, we need about $7,000 or $9,000 for opening our own workshop, where we can create our models and where we can make some presentation of our models. And now we are working with the pre-ordering model. So we don't have any balances. However, we have reliable suppliers, and we are able to get all needed materials and parts to assemble in short time. So at first step, we need to raise money for open our workshop, and we think that Ukraine is not our market, because people in Ukraine have another desires, they are not interested in modern design and some indoor plants design. It is this, we think this idea better for richer countries, and we would like to start from USA market and from Hong Kong, Singapore market. This is our assuming.
Again, I'm not sure if Ukraine would not be interested. At least, you know, the business world might be interested in, you know, buying some of these products for the office buildings. We'll have to see it, but yeah. All right. Swati, you had another question right there. So we answered the one about the capital. Are there any more questions?
Yes. So you said that, you know, you're as of now looking at US and Hong Kong and Singapore. There was one part which was left in terms of, and then you also said you're doing some kind of pre-ordering. So how is that going? What has been the response, specifically when people are buying in a different country and kind of buying plants to kind of put in? How the response has been, and how much traction are we seeing on that in general?
Sorry, I don't understand all. I can't hear you.
You mentioned Hong Kong, Singapore, and so have you been receiving many orders from there so far? Does it look like there will be demand from those parts of the world?
No, we haven't got any orders from there, but we just assuming that this marketing is interesting for some new design, and we think this market is good for our idea. This is just our...
The good news is we have students from both countries, or special region of China and Singapore as a country, in Inex Culture this semester. So if there is a market there, hopefully they will know and will tell you within a few weeks.
Yeah, we want to collect feedbacks from people around the world and test our idea.
Now we have Louise here, Quran, so she's one of our long-term professors. Very good to see you, Lou. You had a question, please go ahead. Tell us where you are, because I never could figure out, are you in the UK or in France?
I'm in France.
Okay, so go ahead, please, with your question.
A couple of questions. I'm curious about the name. Why Oasis Rocket, and what's the link to plants? And I'm also wondering why you don't think you should target Europe, as it's a lot closer than any of the other potential markets you're talking about.
Okay, thanks for questions. First, why Oasis Rocket? Because the first model looks like rocket, and Oasis, it is because of plants. With our models, you can create beautiful green spot like small oasis in your office or home space. And about Europe, for sure, Europe is also our market. We would like to test our idea in Europe, and for sure, just forget to say this.
Plus, Europe is much closer in terms of the shipping cost, so it may be much easier to do business in Europe. Plus, with the new trade agreement or association, whatever they call it, it may be easier to export to Europe than to some other countries, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I was curious about that Oasis rocket as well, but yeah, when you look at the tubular design, I guess it does look a little like a rocket, so I guess that makes sense, right? So,
okay.
Competition. So there are a few questions about competition. I personally have not seen pots like this before, but I'm sure something similar exists. Have you done any research? Are there any competing products on the market?
We didn't find the same constructions for compactly and vertical growing. So I think we are unique. And our main competitor is producers of classical planted pots. This is our main competitors. So I think we should to try find people who are interested in something new and something creative, and with some modern design, because classical planted pots don't fit into modern design. For example, minimalism style or high-tech style like this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, again, a tip for the students, look for the competition. So again, obviously, you probably have seen something similar somewhere on Amazon, on eBay, but also do some research. And then once you find some similar products, try to do some comparison. So look into the pros and cons of each product, pricing comparison, things like that. That sort of analysis will give you two things. One, it may give you ideas for the product improvement, and you can include some ideas in your report as far as further development and improving the actual design. But two, by seeing how Oasis rocket products compare to the competition, it will give you a better understanding and ideas for strategy and promotion. So maybe there are some advantages of the Oasis rocket over the competition. You can play that up a little bit more in your advertisement and promotion, and vice versa. Maybe there are some disadvantages which you might want to, I don't know, either fix or at least not focus on too much. So that would be a very good exercise.
Okay, are you talking about same product or similar products?
Not sure. I don't know. Again, I honestly have not seen anything like this, but something's telling me it's impossible that nothing similar exists on the market. And so with students in 45 countries or so that we have this semester, in addition, we have also kids from 72 countries who passed the test. I kind of suspect people will probably know, like if something similar exists, people will probably know about it. And so if enough of them try to do some search and look around, they will probably find similar ideas, compact plant pots for offices. And once they find it, if they find it, I think it would be useful to compare your product to the competition, or if everybody is looking for something similar and nobody finds anything, that's actually very good news. That may mean that you literally have no competition. That may be a very, very important big advantage, strategic advantage. So we'll see.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Julian, Katavi, I see you guys had questions. So if you would like to go ahead, unmute your microphones and go ahead with your questions. And meanwhile, I'll take a look at the emails that I'm receiving to see what the questions are coming.
Yeah, thanks. Hello, everyone. So my question was about your pricing strategy. I went on your website. So as you said, you are doing like two different types of plans, let's say. And I compared it. I'm French, so I compared it just to know about on the French market and the prices that we are currently doing. And it's a bit above the average, let's say, about your pricing. What's about your margin maybe, and what's about maybe the quality of your product also, because I found it strange that we were almost reaching 100 euros for plans.
That's a very good question. Yes, pricing, a lot of people are asking about that. Is the price fixed? Are you flexible on the price? Why this much and not more or less? Okay, thanks for question. This time the price is a little bit higher because of Kickstarter campaign. The Kickstarter takes some fee, and we should to include this fee in our prices. But we can reduce our prices for sure for next steps, and we can provide wholesale cost for 20-30% cheaper than our retail price, and it likes about $35 or $30 per smaller model, and for sure final cost will depend on the quantity of order and of producing. However, I can tell you that our prices includes raw materials, special details from plastic and rubber, labor, and outsourcing services. Does it include shipping? No, it is not include shipping because of different location for shipping. For example, for Europe, for smaller model, it is about $20 or $15 for shipping, but for USA, it's about $30. Yeah. At some point, it would be a good idea. I mean, hopefully, it all scales up to the point where you can have a local warehouses and then ship it in large quantities to the location and then distribute it locally from there. Because if you add another $30 for shipping to the United States, it literally almost doubles the price, and so makes it kind of the whole endeavor a little complicated. Yeah, makes sense. Julian, one question for you. So Louise suggested that there may be demand for products like this in Europe. What is your feel? Like, would you buy one of those? So both of you are from France. I'm just kind of trying to do a little survey here.
Thanks for reuniting French people. About this product, yeah, I really liked it when I saw it because it seemed to be interesting, yeah, and innovative. And French people, we are always into these new modern things, you know, to enhance the quality of our working area, let's say. So I like the idea, but I was really skeptical about the pricing. That's why I asked about it, because like we can see in France some nice things for 50 euros. It will seem to be really modern, and so yeah, that's the only maybe negative aspect I will put on this product. But after I did not see for product, so maybe I'm wrong, but that's my point of view. Yeah.
How do you think, what is optimal price
It's a good
for
question.
France,
But,
for example?
Or how much would you be willing to pay for a product like this?
I don't know. I'm not in the company. Like I don't know all the specific costs. Let's say, but I don't know. When I saw like your biggest model is $99, no, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, is less. It's 79.
79. Okay. And the little one.
49.
49. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, for the big one, let's say it's $80. I saw pretty nice things, not similar, because it's true that your idea is really innovative, let's say. But I saw pretty nice things that maybe companies would like to buy for 50 instead of 80.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Luis, what is your take on the price here? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's reasonable? Or how much would you pay for a product like this?
Julian's actually one of my students, which explains why we're both on. I really think it needs a lot more looking at, because it's so specific, but on the other hand, it's also competing with things that are not that far away from it. It's relatively expensive, that's true, but it depends who you're targeting as well. And I think the business market, as in putting it on your welcome desk and so on, reception, obviously has a higher price point than ordinary you and me people, you know.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to sell thousands and thousands in the first while anyway, so, but obviously you need to sell some of them, and obviously as you scale up, the price will go down, but in the medium term, I think there's also an interesting business opportunity for maybe larger ones that people would put in reception that would give this nice sort of welcoming vision. Just on another point, we did have a startup here in Toulouse. One of our bachelor students set up a startup, which was a kind of it combined a fish tank and some plants. Have you heard about it?
Yes, I heard about this.
Okay. I don't know what happened to that startup, but I know they were helped quite a lot by the ecosystem here. We have a startup support service. We have a sort of entrepreneurial ecosystem in the school. I was also wondering, do you have something like that locally that you can plug into that can help you also with all this practical scaling up question, apart from the ex-culture student who will be here for a few weeks but are not going to be able to help you in the more medium to long term?
Right.
Okay, it is interesting. This idea to add in a fish tank to plants, it is not a new idea, it is a common idea, and some company already use it. And if you ask about people, are you question about people who can help us in with our startup?
Like incubators type of deal, you mean, or like accelerators?
So in Ukraine, we don't have this, but we are open to collaborate with some accelerators and with some people. We are open to collaborate.
One interesting, just my observation here, and that's not about this particular company, but this is just one example. So now that X-Culture has been around for a few years, we do receive a lot of inquiries from our former students who have business ideas, who are outside the major sort of entrepreneurship centers, like the Silicon Valley, like some of the more developed countries. And so they have brilliant ideas like this one, but unfortunately they would not be right in the heart of the action or entrepreneurship culture. And so they often come to us and say, I have this idea, I would like to make the product, could you help me? And so obviously at this time, it's not, we are not in no position to offer money, to build the product or to build the factory, obviously. So we're trying to help with ideas. But we are thinking about maybe sometime in the future or near future, maybe launching some sort of like an X-Culture accelerator initiative where companies like this one could come to us and maybe we can help with raising capital, developing the strategy, building the sales, maybe in exchange for a share of the company or something like that. And so the idea is that those businesses could potentially become interesting case studies for entrepreneurship students. And then at the same time, helping the companies and possibly, again, maybe if one of them becomes the next Facebook, maybe even X-Culture can make some money out of it. Again, very, very long-term plans, but there is definitely a lot of interest from young people who have ideas and really don't know how to go about realizing them. So,
yeah, this is a great idea to collaborate with students of different cultures and make some new decisions with mixing of culture.
In fact, in full transparency and disclosure, so the Kickstarter campaign that Oasis Rocket started, so apparently in order to start a Kickstarter campaign, you have to have someone in the United States to sort of, sponsor you or launch the campaign. So either a company or a physical, a person. And so Oasis Rocket didn't have anyone, so X-Culture literally became the sponsor.
Yeah, thanks for this helping.
What I mean here is that the challenge is not, I'm not trying to say how great we are, I'm just saying that sometimes even mundane, simple capital raising options such as Kickstarter may not be available to people outside the United States because of the way the system works. So we had to set up a new account specifically here in the United States, link it to the Kickstarter page. So we are still testing, trying to see how it works for ourselves. But yes, the world is not quite flat yet when it comes to access to capital, when it comes to access to infrastructure. And yeah, so I'm not sure how much we can do in this area, but it's a very interesting sort of development. So lots of people with ideas without the knowledge how to go about them, and sometimes with certain barriers that do not allow them to go beyond their own country when it comes to raising capital, as well as finding partners in doing business. Challenging stuff. A few questions about marketing. So at this time, my understanding is that you're not doing much marketing, or have you tried marketing the product and doing some advertisement? So other than Kickstarter, is information about Oasis Rocket somewhere else, or that's all you're doing for now?
On this time, we have also website and some accounts in social networks, and we provide some social advertisement for our product, and already collect some feedbacks.
Yeah. Katavi here. Katavi, are you still here? Would you like to ask your question, because it leads very well in our next block? Go ahead, please.
Yes, hi. I just joined the seminar, the webinar.
Where are you located? So
Jamaica.
Tell us who you are, where you are, and then go ahead with the question.
All right, so I'm from Jamaica.
Uh-huh.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I'm doing a course at UWI. However, I just want to ask one quick question, because I just joined it. You said that you're marketing, right?
Well, you also had a question about florists and
yes.
distribution channels, and several people asked about that. So can you clarify, what did you want to know?
I mean persons who sell plants, who have plant shop, because since you're selling plants, basically, have you tried like those stores? Because it will be bring more customers. People be more aware of it.
Yeah,
if you go to those,
people go to buy plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good suggestion to start small. Like going to those stores.
Talking to florists, to the
yeah, because have a I don't know, but I'm just saying if you have tried that one as well, because you want to tap into every market as much as possible.
This is thank you. This is good idea. We don't talk with florists, but I'm sure that we can collaborate with florists. And thank for this idea. It's really nice, and we can do it. We can do it. We are open to this collaboration. Also, we can collaborate with interior designers.
Or gift shops.
Yes.
Gift shops, yeah.
And gift shops. Thanks.
And there are actually a few questions about the whole business of entry mode, meaning that you know the mode of your presence in the market. So we have several questions here. Some students believe that exporting will be the best way. So basically, you make the product in Ukraine, and when the order comes from whichever country, you simply ship the product there, and that's it. But then many people believe that you would be better suited if you engage in different types of partnerships. So Kennedy here said that maybe with florists, but others say maybe you should approach some retailers. So literally stores that sell, I don't know, stores like IKEA. Well, IKEA wouldn't sell anybody else's product, but other stores that sell, you know, home supplies, furniture, I don't know, general department stores and things like that. So by doing so, obviously you will have access to a much bigger network. But then again, you have sort of a catch-22 here. So you need to have the volume to be able to approach the retailers. I suppose they would want to see at least, I don't know, 1,000 units right away in order to test it. On the other hand, until you start, you know, until you have volume, you cannot make that, until you have enough orders, you cannot make it that many products. So do you have any preferences here? Would you like to sell it directly to the customers? Are you open to the idea of working with some distributors or retailers or partners like florists or, I don't know, home improvement designers? What's your philosophy here?
On this time, it is our first step, and now we are working on pre-ordering model. Yes, it has some weaknesses, and this model, what you told about partnership with sellers, with country and local sellers, it's much better, and it needs volume, big volume. So for this, we need investments, and this is one of our goal, to find these investments to work with different model.
In the past, we've had cases in X-Culture where students would approach local store managers, potential distributors, with information about the products made by X-Culture companies. And we've had cases when it actually led to contracts. So I remember we had one case where someone in the United States basically brought a contract to a company in Italy that makes shoes. And so he had some relative or some friend who has a shoe store. And so he literally went to him and said, hey, there is this company from Italy, they make shoes, would you like to try selling them? And so the store owner said, yeah, sure, let's order a couple, you know, a few hundred pairs and see what happens. And so they started small, it seems to have worked pretty well. And so they now became a distributor or retailer of that product. We had also a long time ago, I remember there was a student from Florida, the company from Florida that makes cow ovulation tests. So apparently when you breed cows, when you're a farmer, a rancher, you need to know, when they are ovulating, I guess. But anyway, so that company makes the tests that determine the best time to, inseminate a cow. And so there was a student in Australia who went to some sort of like an agricultural exhibition. And so literally handed out some samples or information about those tests. And apparently there was a lot of interest in Australia for the product. And so now the company is selling the products to Australia. So I'm not sure if something like this can happen with Oasis Rocket, but I do encourage the students to go to local stores, to go to local, florists, and check if they might be interested in buying a few of those products just to see if customers would like them. And so if you can facilitate a transaction like that, that would be actually a huge help to the company, but also a very good experience for you, as well as something that you can put in your resume. You can literally say that you facilitated and made an international deal happen. So again, we'll see how things go, but if it's a local florist, the initial order can be as little as, 10 units, just to see the customers would like to buy it. So I encourage you to try, approach those companies, talk to them and see what they say. Maybe the answer will be no way, my customers would not be interested. Well, good, now we know. But maybe the answer will be, that's interesting, maybe let's try it and see what happens.
Yeah, this is interesting. At first, we should to find people who are interested in this idea and who want support and who who want to share this idea.
Anyway, I think I've gone through all of the questions I have received by email. I'm not sure there are any questions from the people in attendance here, but as always, if you have questions that we didn't answer, or if you have questions later, you can always send them to admin@xculture.org, and we will catalog them, send them to the company. The reason we usually don't give the email addresses of the company owners directly is because there are over 6,000 of you this semester. So we have a little more because we have the kids now. And obviously, company owners, managers are busy and cannot answer all of your questions, or cannot spend a lot of time on answering your questions. So what we do is we receive questions centrally. And then if it's a new question, we send it to the company, get the answer, and then add it to the frequently asked questions database. Many questions are repetitive, so in many cases, most of the time, in fact, 9 out of 10 questions we receive, we already know the answer, so there is no need to bother the company. We just copy and paste the answer directly in the email. But if it's a new question, send it to us. We will put you in touch with the company. You will be able to find out more from Oasis Rocket or any of the other 10 companies this semester. And yeah, I guess let's stop here. So thank you so much, Roman, for your information, for your time. And let's hope that XCulture students will bring you lots of interesting ideas and possibly some business leads.
Yeah, thank you very much for invitation to this project. Thank you very much for attention. And it will be a pleasure for us to answer all questions and collect some feedbacks from people. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Looking very much forward, and we'll see, maybe we'll do another webinar later on in the semester when students have more information and have something to not only ask, but also maybe tell you and get some feedback before they finalize the proposals. So we'll see, maybe we'll do another one sometime in November.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. And yeah, so we have a couple more webinars tomorrow. So I'll see you, I guess, all tomorrow.
Bye, good luck.